Hey guys, welcome to the Kim Wright YouTube channel. It's been an interesting year. Oh, sorry, I forgot the main intro. So today's challenge for the Advent calendar is to talk about something I don't usually talk about on the show. Something I do in my private life. I'm an amateur dramatic stage lighting person trying desperately to get into the professional world. And I'm happy to say, kind of, I succeeded. In the fact that I've had this year 3 shows that I've actually been paid for, which is pretty cool. I haven't done much in the way of shows this year, mainly due to my work and struggling to control my professional and my personal life. But this year I'm happy to say I've succeeded in more ways than one. So let's start with the first one that came up. So I was contacted by my friend Michelle to do her show. It was, in a way, my first ever paid show that I've ever done, which was pretty cool. Something that I never imagined I would ever do. Michelle created her own company, and in the Babel Arts Cafe we did a show whose name I've just forgotten. Here's the poster here, but it was generally about the idea of mental health and struggling with it. Included 2 poems. This was a huge challenge as I'd never worked in the venue before, and there wasn't much in the way of stuff that I could do in the venue. But I think I did a pretty good job. So good that she actually asked me to do the show when she moved it to the Etc Theatre for a Camden Fringe Festival. I was actually pretty excited, and I think I actually did pretty well, considering there were a few challenges that I had. I've never worked in a venue where the lighting person has mainly been in a blind spot, but I've worked in areas before where I have asked people, can I have people sit in this seat so they can tell me what it looks like, is there anything wrong with it? And we actually did pretty well, in a way. We did one of the most fantastic and fun shows. It was huge fun to do, and the cast and crew were just absolutely brilliant throughout all of it. It was amazing to work on, but it did have its challenges, which I'm glad to say I overcame, which was pretty cool. If she asked me to do it again, I certainly would love to do it, because it was one of the most hardest challenges I've had to do, but pretty cool. The next show that I did, this one sort of steered away. The next show that I did, which was involved in lighting, actually clashed with the Queen's death, which was quite sad. I actually had to do 2 things I've never done before. I had to do reverse of the stage, which I did fairly well. I got confused with the cabling, but I think I did very well for someone who had to do it by herself for presumably the first time. I did eventually have to ask for help. But we did the lights fairly quickly. We did the shows were absolutely brilliant. I love it. This is the only picture that I've got. Someone else took this picture, but this is the only picture that I got from the show, which was absolutely fantastic. I just loved the atmosphere and the theme of it. The basic ideology of the play, which is called Enchantment, was this boy has gone missing, and the parents are desperately trying to find him. And throughout the play, they think they found him, but there's something not quite right about the boy. So have they found him, or is it just a complete stranger? The play explores that. And it was interesting seeing the play develop over time as we did it. I loved it. One of the hardest things I had to do, though, was it clashed with the Queen's death. Number one, I actually thought the show would be cancelled. Not because for personal reasons, but because, I thought that, with the fact that everyone was going into a period of mourning, I thought, oh, well, we'll have to go into a period of mourning as well. Didn't quite happen like that. In actual fact, what happened was we had to go into, we had to do this speech, basically asking the audience if they could join us in a 1 minute silence. And I volunteered to do it. I was heartbroken when the Queen died. To this day, I still don't quite understand why. I didn't know her personally. She was someone who was a part. The only way I could describe it was she had been a part of my life, and it was like there was a hole that would never be filled by anyone. I've got high hopes for Charles, but she'd been on the throne for years, of which 33 of them was part of my life. And over time, when I spoke to my parents, I did find out that she may have influenced before I was even born. So she was a part of my life before I even knew she was a part of my life. But I think it's because it was always Great Britain, the Queen. I'm interested to see if Charles does a speech this Christmas. I will probably be the only Brit who would not blame Charles if he chose to not do it this year, considering his mum's death. I certainly would find it extremely difficult. But on the other hand, I would find it an honour to do the King's Christmas speech in replacement of a relative who's passed away. Not sure, but again, I wouldn't blame him if he decides he doesn't want to do it. I imagine he's probably not in a particularly good place, particularly as I hope the royal family have had time to mourn. But anyway, that show was a huge success, and the only issue we had was in the comments box. Someone didn't like the fact that we were doing a 1 minute silence for the Queen. Okay, that's their opinion, not mine, so meh. The next show I did stayed away from lighting. It was my first stage management role I've done in a while, and it was an interesting stage manager role with a theatre that I hadn't paid my membership on because I wasn't sure if I was going to be involved in the shows anymore. But it was a good thing that I did, which was fantastic. And that was Dead Man's Cell Phone. The ideology of it is a woman realizes that a guy who's been sitting in the cafe with her has passed away, and her exploration through the family and his life throughout it. I won't go into too many details. I made quite a few props, including these props here, and I had to go through a pretty hard time because I was struggling with work as well. But luckily, it managed to be quite successful in the fact that it was an interesting play, and one of my favourite props is this one here, which got a laugh every single time it appeared on the show, even though it doesn't look that appealing in any way. But it also allowed me to explore other traditions as well. Probably explains why I struggled with the show in general, because there was a tradition that I'd completely forgotten about. So it was good to explore explore the traditions and explore the type of other backstage work other than lighting. But it was difficult not being involved in the lighting and the sound, which I was more used to, and it was a new era I'd never done before, which was pretty cool. I'm lucky I had an assistant stage manager who knew more about stage management than I did, to the point where I actually said to her, I really wanted to just swap roles with her because she was so much more better than me. After that, and actually during Enchantment, I actually received the message and agreed to it. This is the third payment one that I did, which was Bunker Buddies, which sounds. I do remember when I did it, I thought it was Bunnies for some reason. I don't know why. But no, it was Bunker Buddies. And the idea is that the world has ended and two people are locked in the bunkers. Think Fallout in a way. In fact, that's how I sold it to my husband. It's basically Fallout, but it's one of the bunkers that we don't talk about. They've only got salmon and carrots to live on. And it's the story of their involvement in the bunkers together. I was just the the lighting and sound person. I had to do lighting and sound at the exact same time. And it helped me improve in something I hadn't used for quite a while, which was QLab. Walking through Crystal Palace Park in the dark, though, was quite an interesting feat because I don't know if you've ever tried to walk through a park in the dark. It is scary. I'm saying that as a woman, and I know a lot of people are probably going to comment saying, "Oh, you were just scared because you were a woman." Actually, it was pretty dark and pretty scary in there. Plus the fact that I was working and then doing Bunker Buddies at the same time, which was an interesting challenge. But it was super cool to do, and it was so lovely to be able to do a huge challenge like that, and working in a theatre I'd never worked in before. Again, like etc. and the Babel Arts Theatre. The only issue I had was I had free range to do whatever I want to, basically do whatever I wanted, and there was a part of me that wanted to hold back because I had limited amount of lights to use, but so much creative juices. And I think I did pretty well. Here's a picture of one of the lightings that I did for that show, which I think proves the kind of. I had 4 LED lights and the rest of them were generic lights. And I just played along with what I had. And I think I did a fantastic show in the end. I actually had quite a good few comments on the show, which was even more fun to be able to do. One of which made me laugh because I was basically sitting in the doorway in a small cupboard-like area. That was the lighting, which meant that I was half lit. And considering one of the characters that's mainly spoken of but isn't actually part of the show, a lot of the audience members mentioned they thought I was the unnamed character. That might give the director slash writer a few ideas, I don't know. But it was huge fun to be able to do. In the process of this, I was actually involved in another show. This was technically the first show that I got paid for this year. One of my dad's friends, Helen, does jazz shows, and she went to the Cambridge Theatre to do one of her shows. I had seen the show. She'd done a little premiere for all of us, but she decided to expand it to a theatre in Cambridge Theatre. And she asked me to do the lights. And I did them, and I got paid for it, which was a cool feeling to do. It was odd. It sounds odd, but I rarely get paid for the stuff that I do. I do it mainly for fun. I was doing it at the same time that I was doing the lighting plan for Babel Arts, the Babel Arts Theatre project. And I do remember at one point I was showing some of the actors the design that I had for Helena's play, and they loved it. They thought it was fantastic. Helena loved it as well. She was supposed to take it to another theatre, but I don't know if that went ahead or whether they just used my design and didn't tell me. Don't mind. But it was huge fun to do, and hugely. It was a fun play to explore, but it was also a fun environment to work in. Being the first time that I'd not visited the theatre, that the only involvement that I actually had was designing. Normally I do designing and rigging the lights, and then sometimes perform the lights. I've never trusted someone else with my lighting designs. So it was a huge challenge. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of the show because I did not ask Helena or my dad to take a picture of what the lights on the stage looked like for my portfolio. All I have is the lighting design that I did, which is a shame. I don't have that in a profile. I would love to work with Helen again, and I would love to help. Love to explore more of this, more ideologies of creating the lighting design, particularly if I'm on a stage where I'm incredibly busy with work and I can't keep visiting the theatres and do the show like in operation at the same time. It would be an amazing thing to be able to say, okay, I can do the lighting design, but I can't do the actual show, which I think would be pretty cool. I was offered another show shortly after I did Bunker Buddies, but unfortunately I was working late on one of the days, so I had to say no. It was too late for me to change my shift, so I decided to say no, which was an interesting experience. I don't usually say no on more than one occasion, but it was huge fun to do. An amazing experience to be involved with. So what have I got coming up this 2023? I don't know. I have heard nothing. I was supposed to be involved in a panto with the same theatre that I did Dead Man's Cell Phone. But unfortunately, again, work clashed quite a lot with a lot of the dates that we were doing and stuff. Plus, I ended up with a lot more stuff that I needed to do personally. So I didn't get as involved as I would have liked with this particular show. And I've heard nothing from anyone else at this particular moment. So it's all open books at the moment on what 2023 is going to bring. It might bring no shows, or it might bring thousands of shows. That will come with time. But I hope to be able to explore the kind of stuff that I can do. Probably expand on my skills and abilities. One thing that I am going to do while I wait is I want to explore QLab, which is the program I use for sounds. Explore the type of things I could do, because there was a few things that I learned while I was doing Bunker Buddies that I want to try and expand and improve a lot more, so that I'm not in a situation where I'm scared to do anything about it. And another idea that I've got is to look at stuff that I've got personally at home, so I can sort of expand on what I need, on equipment that I already have and equipment I can work with. But until then, 2023, bring it on. I mean, I've got enough stuff as it is, to be honest. But by all means, stay safe, stay well, keep the magic in your fingertips, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye for now.